Howdy and welcome back to the Junction cast. We are live today from College Station. Not that we've not been live we've never been live, and we're also still not live, but we've always been at College Station, so we didn't lie to you at least.
No, yeah, we've never left College Station. We're never once. We're still here.
We're still here. We're in the homeland. We're in Aggie land. We are currently in the midst gearing up for a big Texas A&M women's soccer showdown tonight in College Station.
Yep.
Ags taking on the Gators. Gonna be an interesting matchup. Before we jump into the more juicy topics, Rob, you're the soccer, I would say, aficionado in the room.
Sure.
Give us just a little taste of what we're looking at tonight.
It's very difficult to kind of get a feel of this women's soccer team, this A&M team. Because they've gone from points where they will beat teams that they are supposed to beat and then lose to teams they're supposed to beat. They beat the absolute snot out of Kansas on the road.
That was nasty.
Like 5-1. And then they turn around and lose to Auburn. Right. So, this team they're trying to still find out their identity, and unfortunately, now you have hit SEC play, and you're game.
They're relatively young, if I'm not correct, right? Relatively.
Yeah. They've gotten a lot of pieces back, but it's still a lot of sophomores and freshmen that are getting a lot of playing time. Now, granted, I think this team here in the next couple of seasons should be really good. Yeah. But the team this year does have some good senior leadership. It has the pieces to be an SEC contender. The question is going to be, how are they going to look tonight? Yeah, and we're going to find that out. Clearly Florida has been for a very long time the best women's soccer team in the SEC, one of the best far and away in the nation. So we'll see tonight. I saw Allie Watt this morning, and I was like on my way to go to class and whatnot. If I would not have been, I would have stopped and told her to kill him tonight, but did not have time to do that. So we're looking forward to that. Really hope that the ladies are able to pull that off. Would be an awesome win. They're ranked what? Florida's ranked. Florida's top 10.
And are we ranked? We're kind of probably bottom 20s, right? Or mid.
Yeah, we're still ranked at the moment. I think we're like 20 or something. I don't know.
So it would be a significant upset.
Yeah, it'll definitely be an upset. It's at home. Yeah, you got the Marine Militia theoretically is going to be there.
Big hopes. It looks a little dark outside right now. It looks like a little rainy, but we are hoping that people show up, show out, and get their support for the Fighting Texas Aggie women's soccer team.
Yep.
Moving on, we'll move on to Fighting Texas Aggie football. Last weekend, the Ags took on the Ragin' Cajuns of the University of Louisiana Lafayette, which, let me just say something about that. Why do we not call the universities by their actual names at Kyle Field anymore? Were you there Saturday?
Yeah.
Were you at the Nicholls State game?
I was not at the Nicholls State game.
At the Nicholls State game, they called them, over the loudspeaker, Nichols, 1,000 times. Huh. And they called Louisiana Lafayette, Louisiana, constantly. I'm like, why can't you just, again, it's this, little mamby-pamby, stupid, dumb, this is just in my head, probably nobody else's, but, why can't you give these people the respect they deserve, at least to just call their school by its name?
Well, if you talk to the majority of Louisiana Lafayette fans, they fully embrace that they're just the University of Louisiana. They leave off the Lafayette part. They don't even, hardly embrace it. Because as far as they're concerned, Louisiana Monroe's nothing. They don't care. So, if you look at their jerseys even, on the front of their jerseys, it's just Louisiana.
Oh, wow, okay.
So, yeah, that's the reason why they call them Louisiana, is because they've fully embraced that they are the University of Louisiana.
Yeah, it was just a really nitpicky thing for me to notice, but it seemed really just stupid. Why couldn't we just call them, by their name? But obviously, didn't actually really matter. We can talk about stuff that did matter, though.
Sure.
I want to get this out in the front of the conversation. The Yell Leaders are now 3 for 3 in causing botched snaps. Now, I don't know if you noticed this. I definitely did, and I predicted it after the second time.
Yeah.
I was pretty sure it was going to happen the second time, and after it did happen the second time, I said, well, when the third time was coming upon us, I was like, well, it's going to happen again. If you're unaware, during the second game, the Yell Leaders were at the tail end of doing a yell. We snapped the ball way over Kellen Mond's head. He had to go run and get it. Yeah. And then in this past game against Lafayette, it happened twice. Mm-hmm. Right at the tail end of a yell, they snap it. And a bunch of people have been getting on, the center, Eric McCoy, making fun of like, oh, he wants to try out for quarterback. Ha, 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 ha. It's not his fault.
No.
This is the yell leader's fault. And because it's happened 3 times, I am 100% confident in saying that it is their fault, nobody else's.
So in game 2, Eric McCoy did not play. It was the backup center.
Oh, gotcha.
So that was part of the issue,
right?
But in addition, yes, also I would have to say that we have. Yeah, I know we're still trying to figure out and try to get things, really, every little parts and pieces figured out. But at this point in time, we still have not fully grasped what our game day atmosphere should be at Kyle Field since we have decided to revamp it.
It's still, it's a very, because I've lived here for the past 3 years, and I've always been an Aggie, and I just kind of know how it is. It's a very find your own thing to do type of place. Mm-hmm. There's no, it's advertised that this is when step off is.
Yep.
This is when march in is. But not super well. It's not made as big of a deal as I think it could be. They have the kids yell practice, and I don't think that's as big of a deal as it probably should be. I agree with you. I think that there are some things that are lacking on the game day experience side that, it would just take a little bit of a marketing overhaul just to kind of deal with.
Yeah, I would say marketing definitely needs a little bit of a step up on that front, but I also think that within the stadium itself, they need to figure out exactly how they want to do this thing. Because, for example, the Aggie band's mic'd up now.
Right.
And, I was sitting on the alumni side, the old west side of the stadium, and which is very nice, by the way.
I imagine.
But we're sitting...
It's not as sunny.
Oh, well, I got burned pretty good. But I'm sitting there on that side watching, and... the way they set it up was the Aggie band, they have the speakers on the field pointing up our direction. And so anytime the Aggie band would play anything, it would just be a blast of sound.
I wish more than anything that that's how it was on the east side where the students are, because I have been able to hear the Aggie band fine for 2 years or 3 years. And now all of a sudden I cannot hear them at all. Mm-hmm. And I do not know why that is. It is very strange to me. But I can't hear them at all, and it really frustrates me when they're in the stands. I can't hear them. It's frustrating. Yeah. That has nothing to do with football.
No.
So we can move past all of that ridiculousness and just get to the football. What was something that just kind of stood out to you on Saturday that for good or bad?
So on the good side, holy crap, our running backs are deep.
Man, Cabody and Etway.
Mm-hmm. Bussy.
Those 3 guys
who are all behind Travion and
Ford. Keith Ford,
yeah,
who both did not look like them. Travion obviously didn't play.
No.
Keith Ford did not look like himself. He's probably still battling something.
Mm-hmm.
I think both of them will probably be fine to go against Arkansas.
Yeah,
hopefully. But it kind of looks like it doesn't really, not that it doesn't matter, but it's not as big of a loss as maybe we kind of thought it was.
Yeah, no, just looking at those running backs, that running back stable they all rushed very well, especially in the second half.
And they looked like the people on the field that cared.
Yeah, they were fighting for it. They're sitting there gashing 7, 8, 10 yards a carry.
Right.
A piece, and that's awesome.
I want to say that it was, it may have been Bussy or Cabody, I can't remember. One of them at one point had over 100 yards rushing and or had 14 carries, and they were still averaging 10 yards a carry.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
That's awesome.
It is.
That's great.
It is absolutely unprecedented. I thought that was fantastic. The one thing I kind of took away was that team started to look like the team that I thought they should be in the second half.
Yeah.
They looked awful in the first half, really bad. They came out in the second half, and it was hot, and I wanted to go home, and they drove the score up. And I was very happy that they came out and they performed. They looked pretty good. I'm not going to say really good. They looked pretty good. Some of the play calling I thought got a little bit better. Again, I think that's issue number 1 is play calling.
Still is.
But we'll see, obviously, what's going to happen this week at Arkansas when we play them. My thing I'm looking for to that is where's the energy? I want to say where's the swagger, but the fact of the matter is this team doesn't deserve to have swagger at this point. They got destroyed at UCLA after they led by 34. They almost lost to Nicholls State, and then they blew out a team in the second half they should have been blowing out for the entire game.
Sure.
They don't really deserve to have any swagger right now. What they do deserve to have is skill, because they are a good football team, I think. I don't think they're amazing. I don't think that they're stop the world. I don't think that they are the best team I've ever seen in my life. Nothing like that. But I do think they're good.
This is a team that has the potential to be ranked and stay ranked. And that's just the way that this team is set up.
When you really start to look at it, I'll say before this past weekend, I could have honestly rationalized 10-2 if the team started to get better every week. I can't rationalize it anymore because of Mississippi State. But I still kind of can, because maybe, you trade Mississippi State and LSU.
Yeah, maybe.
So Arkansas this weekend. What to you is just kind of a big important thing in there?
I'm curious to see what kind of energy Arkansas is going to bring. I mean, just because I think Kevin Sumlin normally does a pretty good job of getting this team up for the Arlington game. Because one, it's a great recruiting opportunity for the DFW.
That's the only reason it's there.
It's the exact reason.
The only reason it's in Arlington. It's the only reason that it's there every year that that contract's in place. It is a huge tool for A&M and Arkansas both for recruiting.
And honestly, I would say it's just so much more of a tool for Arkansas, just because they need to recruit Texas if they want to stay relevant, because you just don't have the same kind of recruits in the state of Arkansas. So I think the question is going to be, I think Kevin Sumlin normally has the team up. I think the team's going to come in with the mindset of, we know this team pretty well. We know Arkansas. We know how they tick. We know how to work them if we need to win the football game. My question is going to be with Arkansas is, are they going to come out and just lay down and accept the fact that Brett Bielema is going to be on his way out as well?
Right.
And that's, or are they going to fight for their coach? That's my big question.
Right.
More than anything. Because, you have a team that's fighting in the locker room. That's not good team chemistry.
Yeah. That's always a symbol of, bad things that are coming. I'm looking to the defensive side of the ball. Last year, we only beat Arkansas because of the defense.
They
played completely out of their minds. Obviously, it ended, with Miles got really banged up in that game and some other guys got hurt, but they played the game of their lives last year against Arkansas and made some crazy stops, executed very, very well on defense. I think that's the question again this year is, with a guy like Austin Allen, how are you going to answer? How are you going to get pressure? How are you going to stop the pass? Honestly, I think that they're fine stopping the run. Yeah. It's how are we going to stop the passing game? And I think if we can find the answer to that question, I think we're going to be okay.
Yeah, I think looking ahead for this game, just the last couple of weeks, we have not looked bad on defense.
Nah.
I'll say that because our issue for a very long time has been, the defense is going to give up yardage.
Right.
But most, if you give them the opportunity most of the time, since Chavis has been here, the defense can find a way to at least limit the damage. Now,
that has not been the case.
But that has not been the case this year.
They've been terrible in the red zone.
I would say absolutely. Red zone defense has not been very good this year, which is why I'm very curious to see how they step up for SEC play.
Yep.
Because I look at the numbers from previous seasons and think, okay, they might have a shot. But obviously this year, red zone defense has not been very good. They've given up a lot of touchdowns.
Exactly. And the question, again, I think the question is, this season, different than any other season, are we going to see growth? Yes or no? So that's, to me, that's the big question is there going to be growth? I thought that after the first two games, I did not think that Louisiana was going to be pretty. After both teams' first offensive drives, I thought there was a good chance we would lose that game. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we came back out, regrouped, did the thing. And so now, it's just a question of, can the growth continue?
If we get the kind of energy that the team had in the second half of that Louisiana game and really just build on that, this team will probably take Arkansas to the woodshed.
Energy and just fight. That's what I want to see is that kind of thing is the attitude that I care. The attitude that, like, I have a vested interest in what happens to this football team, so I'm going to play my best. I'm going to do my hardest. We're going to do that. That kind of football. That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see this weekend. You got a prediction for the game?
Yeah, I mean, looking ahead, honestly, I just think Arkansas is so out of sync right now. I think it's going to be A&M, and I think we'll win probably by 10. Aggies by 10.
I don't know how to pick this game because they're so dumb. Arkansas wins 2 games, a long time ago, back, 2010, 2011. They win those when they had no business winning them. Johnny comes along, does Johnny things. We win 2014, 2015 when we had no business winning them.
Yep.
2016 was very clearly our game. So this series is weird. Like, it's just strange. It makes no sense.
I'll tell you, this has been the longest winning streak in A&M's favor in this rivalry since the 40s.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's been a weird way.
Well, and just the way that all of it's happened, it's just been strange. Like, it's been weird. Like, it's been strange. It's just a very weird, matchup. I'm probably going to say that we will beat them. I'm going to say we beat them. I don't think it's going to be by 10. I think it'll be by like 3. I think it'll be like 31-28. Like, I don't think it's going to be. I think it's going to be close. Arkansas struggled against TCU.
Oh, yeah.
And so, to me, that means if we can pass the ball effectively, which, fingers crossed, or run the ball really effectively. Like, that's the thing is, this is a defense that's built to stop the run. If we can run the ball effectively, let's run the ball and beat them that way.
Yeah.
But obviously TCU, that kind of offense, a spread offense, that kind of deal, that is what was employed to beat them earlier in the season. If that's what we decide to do, I just hope that we're doing it because it's working and not because, that's what we feel we have to do. I want to see us try and run the ball against this team because, to me, this is at least a kind of small barometer of how well can we actually run the ball. So I'd like to see us try and run the ball against this team, and if we do it, I want to do it, again, if we can do it well, I want to, keep doing it. Feed those running backs, get them some reps, and get them ready for some serious competitions coming up in the, coming weeks.
Yeah, I definitely think we need to treat Arkansas the same way we treated that they treated us back in 15 and 14. I mean, this is a team that just ran it down our throats and just beat the snot out of us. Granted, we ended up winning because they made mistakes, and that's the only reason we won those games.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I think this team may be prone to. We haven't seen it yet. Amazingly, honestly, I don't think we've seen A&M make a ton of mistakes. I mean, offensively, we are much younger on the offensive side of the ball than the defensive side of the ball.
Yes.
We have a lot of older guys on defense. And offensively, other than the drops, which were very bad, I haven't seen a ton of just blatant errors, mistakes, stupid things. I haven't seen that.
The only 2 stupid mistakes I can visualize, one was, and they were both turnovers. One was Kellen Mond's bad read on the pass to the Louisiana player. I mean, that's just the way it happened. The Lafayette kid. I mean, that was just a bad read, bad cut. Unfortunately, ended up in the hands of a wrong player.
Right.
And then, Christian Kirk, mental error, wasn't able to recover the ball on special teams.
And that
happens.
I will forgive him on that a million times because he's Christian Kirk. He doesn't do that often. So I'm gonna, I'll give him a easy ride on that one.
Yeah.
Well, while we were sweating and dying in the hot sun, there was actual good college football being played.
Oh, sure.
Not at that time, but at other times throughout the day. We picked a couple of these games. We can just go down the list and talk about maybe the interesting ones. The first one is this big premier matchup that happened. Number 3 Clemson was playing at number 14 Louisville.
Yeah.
You picked Clemson. I picked Louisville. You were very right. I was very wrong. Clemson won 47-21. Absolutely murdered Louisville.
I'd say Clemson, everything you wanted more in a team. They are just everything that's advertised. They look
offensively
awesome.
Fantastic. I mean, defensively fantastic.
I mean, Bryant passed for 316 yards with a touchdown. They rushed pretty well. Receiving, I mean, McLeod had himself 115 yards on 7 receptions. I mean, and really, it was a game that in the first half, Clemson clearly dominated. They were up 19-0 at the half.
Right. Early, it looked close. I mean, like in the first quarter, like it was looking close.
Well, Well, excuse me, it was 19-7. And then that second half, I mean, you're sitting there towards the end of the third quarter. I mean, it's already 33-7.
Right.
I mean, it was pretty clear at that point.
Yeah.
Foregone conclusion.
Yeah.
But Clemson, went on the road, absolutely took it to Louisville. Doesn't matter. They did very well.
We can talk about briefly the game that I was very excited about. I know you were very excited about. Some gentlemen from Austin traveled to Los Angeles and got their pants handed to them for 2 minutes at the end of the game. They fought very well and fell short because they trash. Texas lost at USC 27-24 in double overtime when they decided to run the ball with a non-running quarterback up the middle at the goal line.
Yeah, that's not intelligent.
Now, here's the thing. I know you're playing USC, Texas. Tom Herman. I'm talking to you right now, Tom. You're at USC. I understand that Pete Carroll is on your mind. I love Pete Carroll. Great coach. Yes, Pete Carroll made a mistake by not running the ball. He lost a Super Bowl because he didn't run the ball. He didn't give the ball to Marshawn Lynch. That was his own fault. You do not have to make up for this by deciding that you're only going to run the ball with your quarterback.
No.
Why?
That's what running backs are for, man.
Now, again, I'm not angry because I hate Texas. I want them to lose. So I'm not angry. It's just, it brings joy to my heart to see that kind of stupidity in their coaching staff.
Yep.
Why you do this?
Yeah, let's see. A couple of takeaways I took from this game. One, I don't think Texas is all that bad. I mean, Texas played USC very well, obviously.
Or is USC not all that good?
And I think it's a combination of both. That's what I was about to say.
It's always a combination.
I think number two.
I think USC is actually pretty good.
I think USC is pretty overrated. I mean, I don't think they're top 10. I mean, they struggled against Western Michigan, who's not going to be very good.
It's a warm-up game. I give them a little slack on that one.
USC's 3-0. Yeah, they're sitting there. They're pretty comfy at the moment. But, I mean, you look at their last couple of weeks here.
They throttled Stanford.
I'd say they took
and
really...
Stanford almost lost against, or did lose against San Diego State.
Yeah.
Got upset by San Diego State.
Which tells me I'm not, I don't think Stanford's that good either.
Right, exactly.
Obviously. So, I think, USC, I think we're going to learn a lot this next weekend because they're going to Cal, who's also undefeated. I mean, that'll be a fun game to talk about.
They upset Ole Miss.
Yeah. At home, which was good for them.
Right.
Yeah, but still, not something that was expected.
Yeah.
So be careful.
Certainly a very interesting game. Penn State, just got to mention this. It's not interesting at all, but they just hurt Georgia State. 56-0.
Yeah.
That is what you want to see out of a team that a lot of people have picked to go to the college football playoff this year.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people very high on Penn State. I think Penn State's a really good football team. Obviously, you have to wait and see what they do against Ohio State. Wait to see what they do against Michigan, Wisconsin, the bigger teams in the Big Ten. Not saying they're not a big team, but just those other teams in the Big Ten. Got to see what they're doing with those guys. So keep an eye on them. See what happens there. We keep going down. Saturday night also presented us with the biggest upset of the season thus far, which was Mississippi State over LSU.
Wow.
Clearly the biggest upset thus far. Mississippi State beat LSU by 30 at home, 37-7. You will recall someone on this podcast mentioning that this game would be very close, and someone mentioning that it would not be very close.
I was right. It was not very close.
You're right. It was not very close.
Just the other direction.
Just the other direction. You're correct.
Wow. Holy cow. Mississippi State, Dan Mullen.
Looked fantastic.
Wow. I mean, hats off. I mean, put those damn cowbells away, but hats off.
Yeah,
Holy
they played
cow.
very, very well. Nick Fitzgerald is something special. Going to keep my eye on him for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
He certainly kind of walked out and announced himself.
Hell, their little running back Williams had 146 yards rushing by himself too.
Yeah. Here's an interesting game that I want to talk about. Vanderbilt was at home against Kansas State. Number 18 Kansas State played at Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt won that game 14-7.
Good for them.
And this is interesting because we're going to move here in a moment to talk about next week's games. And Vanderbilt's hosting Alabama next week.
Vandy's 3-0.
I'm not saying anything.
CBS 2:30.
I'm just saying it gets interesting.
It's
interesting to mention.
You're talking about probably one of the most academic, the most academic institution in the SEC.
Yeah.
Going up against probably one of the least, if you want to look at as far as like a lot of rankings and whatnot. So you're having to deal with a very interesting matchup here. Just because I think Vanderbilt is going to present a rather interesting challenge.
They have been growing. Frank Mason has been cultivating that team. He's been, very good in getting that team to be pretty good in the last couple years, and I think that's going to be an interesting game. A couple of other things from this last weekend. We talked about the TCU-SMU game. SMU was leading big time early. Mm-hmm. TCU stormed back, beaten by 20. And then, I guess in kind of the most interesting game of the week, Florida wins in their stupid Hail Mary pass against Tennessee.
That was awesome.
Tied 20-20. Florida throws a pass. It's a touchdown. Number 24, Florida beats number 23, Tennessee at home. I think we both picked Florida. Yeah. I think. I know I did. Florida looks very good on defense.
Yeah.
Very good on defense. They look horrendous on offense.
Yeah, I mean, they pulled off 26 points in this game, but I still think Florida's not very good. I mean, from the offensive standpoint. So that's something that we're going to need to keep an eye on as we move forward.
That defense is shut out. But their offense, I believe, is going to continue to struggle just a little bit. I mean, they're young. They're not finding their way quite yet.
And I will say it was kind of nice to see Tennessee finally get a taste of their own medicine. Because, they got a couple of really lucky plays last year. And
exactly.
They comes back and gets them this time.
So looking forward to this week. We got a couple of interesting games coming up. We'll talk about the one we just talked about, the Alabama-Vanderbilt game. Number 1 team in the nation, consensus number 1. It's not even close. Alabama going to play at Vanderbilt.
It's an 18.5 point, spread
I don't think that's fair.
I don't think that's fair at all. I think, I'm giving Vandy a pretty good shot in this game. I don't think they'll win.
I agree with you.
But they're in. Like I said, they'll play well. I think
I think they cover pretty easy. I think it's a 5 or 6 point game.
I'd say between 5 and 10 points.
I think it's interesting. I think it becomes interesting.
I think it's a 2-score game. Probably.
I think it becomes interesting. I don't think Vanderbilt wins, but I think it's a game I'm going to watch because I honestly do think it's going to become interesting. The other game I will be watching at that time will be very interesting. Number 16 TCU at number 6 Oklahoma State.
Yeah, no. Frogs looked pretty good against Arkansas last week. Granted, we don't really know a whole lot about Arkansas at this point, but I mean, it's Boone Pickens. Yeah, Oklahoma State's been looking pretty good. TCU's looked pretty decent to start the year. I'm going Pokes at home. I think they'll get it. I think they'll get it done. They've looked very, very good. I mean, a lot of people have them as the dark horse to win the SEC. Oh, the SEC.
They could come win the SEC. Go ahead, come on.
Well, I can see Oklahoma State. Maybe pulling out against Oklahoma this year. So just keep an eye on them.
I think that this game is Oklahoma State's. Oklahoma has established themselves as a legitimate contender at this point. People are still kind of like Oklahoma State's number 6, but then I think in a lot of people's minds, they're kind of down at number 16 where TCU is. I think people have just kind of written them off. I think this game is Oklahoma State's opportunity to kick the door down. I think they're going to do that. I think they're going to blow out TCU. I think the people in Stillwater are going to go insane on Saturday because honestly, I do think the Oklahoma State's going to win that one big. I think they're going to win it by like 15 or 20. I mean, I don't think it's going to be close.
No, I agree. I think Oklahoma State's going to be pretty comfortable in that game. Kenny Hill, love you, dude, but no.
Yeah. Another game Saturday, number 8 Michigan travel into Purdue.
Yeah, could be a very interesting game now.
It could. Is Purdue still undefeated?
No, they lost the first game to Louisville.
That's right. Oh, that's right, but it was close.
It was close. I'd say that's the one you picked. That's one you picked Purdue to be in. But Purdue, they absolutely took it to Missouri. Yeah, Missouri's hot garbage, but they made them look really like hot garbage.
Man, Missouri's really bad. They're that program's gone way down in a lot of ways recently.
Yeah.
in kind of a sad way, to be honest.
Well, yeah, especially losing your head coach like the way you lost him. And he was there for a very long time. That was their guy, and so the fact that he was out, due to illness, I think that's not good at all. So, but I think looking at this, a lot of people are going pretty hard Michigan, but I wouldn't be surprised if Purdue hangs around.
I would say that's probably very fair. I would not be surprised if Purdue hangs around. Because of the way Michigan played Air Force last week, I am tempted to pick upset.
Sure.
I am going to save my upset, however.
That's fine.
It's not as big, but I am going to save it because I think Michigan probably wins this game.
Yeah, I'd say they win, but I think Purdue's still going to make it interesting.
Saturday night, big old game going down in Athens, Georgia. Mississippi State taking on Georgia. That is going to be, the fight of the Bulldogs.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. It's a very interesting matchup. What are your thoughts on that one?
Well, I'm told from a handful of sources, Georgia's doing blackout at home. So they're thinking black jerseys, all that fun stuff like they've done in the past. Mississippi State, I know for sure, is doing all white on the road, so it's going to be polar opposites on the field.
Right.
But I think with the way Mississippi State looked against LSU, it would not surprise me if they come out and play Georgia really tough, although I think this is in Athens. I think Georgia's really been a very stout team at home most years. I'm going to go Georgia for now.
Mississippi State is going to walk in and wipe the floor with Georgia.
We'll see how it goes. Matchup predictor has Mississippi State sitting at a 53.4% chance.
I think Mississippi State just has. I think I may pick it the other way if Georgia. I don't know. Do they have their quarterback yet?
Georgia
back. What's his name? Eason. Eason, is he back yet?
I'm not sure.
I don't think he is.
But Fromm's looked pretty good though.
Yeah, he's not looked bad. But I'm gonna go Mississippi State. Nick Fitzgerald looks super dynamic.
Yep.
Looks like a guy that can really lead a team, and I think they're gonna have no problem winning that football game.
We'll see how that one goes. Should be interesting.
We'll go down the list a little bit more here. Let's see what else we got. We got Penn State at Iowa. That's the big ABC primetime matchup.
Yep.
Penn State is gonna kill Iowa. I think that's
yeah.
I don't know. My question was, why was that game? I don't know why that game was picked as the premier matchup. Anyways, it's not. To me, it makes no sense. That makes no sense to me. I think that game's gonna be an utter blowout.
We'll see. Iowa. They've shown spurts of greatness here and there, but I honestly don't think. I think it's going to be Penn State, and it's not going to be terribly close either.
Yeah. So I told you I was saving my upset.
Okay.
Here it is. Kentucky at home against Florida.
Yeah, undefeated Kentucky. Hosting Florida. Kentucky's been waiting for that win for a long time.
Their games have been so close.
Yes.
For so many years. Kentucky is winning this year.
Yeah. Oh, and let me double check this. I want to say I read this somewhere. Apparently, this is like the first time since 1911, since with Kentucky, Vanderbilt, and Mississippi State all starting out 3-0.
Wow, I think I read something like that too.
It's like your typical bottom tier teams have all decided to be pretty decent this year. So we'll see. Obviously, how it goes once you hit conference play. But yeah, honestly, Florida pulled out a very, very tough win at home.
Yeah.
I would not be shocked.
It's always, these games are always these low-scoring games. And in low-scoring games, to me, the difference, obviously, is your offense.
Yeah.
Now, also, I think people make the argument it's special teams. But I will argue that, I think this game, the difference is the offense. And I have much more faith in Kentucky's offense than I do in Florida's defense, or Florida's offense, because I have more faith in anybody's offense.
Well, you're looking at yards per game already. Kentucky is averaging 347 yards compared to Florida's 286. That's a huge difference.
Now, I'll give Florida. They played Michigan. They played Tennessee. They've played better teams.
Yeah.
Than Kentucky has, but I still think Kentucky's walking away with that one.
I agree. I think I do think Kentucky does have the potential to pull that upset out, so it should be fun to watch.
We got exciting news this week. The Fighting Texas Aggie baseball schedule was released. I know Rob was very, very excited about that.
Oh my gosh! Like, this is easily one of my favorite schedules that have come out. This is awesome. Everything that's going on.
Rob is the baseball I'll say professional here on the show. Rob, why don't you give us a tour per se of our little schedule here?
All right, we'll go ahead and start. We'll just go straight on down. Maybe that'd be the easiest way to go about it. So we open up against Rhode Island. Just typical playing these Northeast teams because they can't play the early parts of the season up there. So,
right, makes sense.
So they come down here and travel. So first couple of weekends you got Rhode Island, you got Cornell. We've played a handful of these. Well, we played a handful of these Ivy Leagues last couple of years.
I see that we're not playing in Houston this year. We are instead playing the Frisco College Classic.
Yeah, no. So what happens is the Minute Maid, Shriners College Classic, whatever you want to call it. We play that one every other year.
Gotcha.
We rotate those out, and I think now that Frisco has started this whole classic up there, we'll probably just bounce back and forth between those two every year.
Right,
which is fine with me because that's a good opportunity for Aggies both in Houston and the Dallas area.
So go get to see some baseball.
So I think those first couple of opening weekends should be pretty straightforward. SFA in Houston Baptist are both our first two Tuesday games. We have Incarnate Word on a Wednesday. Those should all be pretty straightforward ball games.
Oh, those are going to be so cold.
SFA and Houston Baptist have the potential to be pretty cold games.
Those games are going to be so cold.
And then let's see here. Frisco up at the College Classic up there. We got La Tech, who really hasn't done a whole lot as far as a program.
Right.
But they've who knows what they can do. Baylor's always a fun game.
Exactly.
And Cal. Cal's fun for me.
Could be very interesting.
Because, Cal, we knocked them out of our regional back in 2015. They knocked us out of the College World Series back in 2011. So Cal and A&M have had a handful of really good games. We play a 2-game set in the middle of the week against Northwestern State out of Natchitoches, Louisiana.
Oh, very good.
Oh, yeah.
And then move on to the Dirtbags.
All right, so, we got the Long Beach State Dirtbags coming into town, which I'm very excited for. Great fan base. Good people down there. Looking forward to that. That'll
has the opportunity to be very fun.
Oh, yeah, it has a really good opportunity. That'll be our last non-conference our non-conference series. It'll
Absolutely. And then we open up conference play at Auburn.
Yep, open up conference play at Auburn. They've played us pretty tough the last couple of years. We've pulled off the series last several times, but I would not be shocked if Auburn gives us a tough little go because they normally do. We have that Tuesday before UT Arlington at home. Then we go on the road for our first Road Tuesday game against Rice at Reckling Park in Houston. Oh, always great. If you have the opportunity, get down to Houston and go to that game because Reckling Park's a great place to watch a game. Then we get Ole Miss for our opening weekend at home, which is odd because we've been playing Ole Miss pretty late in the season last several years.
Right. We've opened. Did we open against Auburn a couple years ago?
Yeah, we opened
against Auburn a couple years ago, and we opened against who was it this past year?
Kentucky. Kentucky swept us.
Really?
Yeah, last year. We started off 0-5.
Man, for whatever reason, I don't remember that.
A lot of people were sitting there after that second game in Vanderbilt because we got absolutely blown out in that game. It was like 17-4.
I remember this.
Everybody was saying, "Oh man,
because it was after the College Classic. It was after the
everybody thought we were not doing anything for the rest of the year. We were done, and obviously, things change.
Right.
So the way I'm looking at it, you got Ole Miss at home. Should be a pretty fun series. Then a couple of interesting road trips. We're going to Corpus. Going to go play at Whataburger Field against the Islanders. Should be a fun road trip for anybody who wants to make that one. Georgia on the road. Athens, always a cool town. Then we have our longest homestand of the year. We're going to get U of H at home on a Tuesday. Then the LSU series, which is always
great.
Always a great series.
Always fantastic.
Yeah, and then that next Tuesday,
bring the Sips to town.
Texas is coming back. We have put Texas back on the schedule, which I am thrilled about.
Go ahead, bring it back. They get walked off again.
I was like, A&M and Texas. This is a baseball series that has needed to happen since we joined the SEC.
It's a sports series.
And it needs to happen. And I'm really happy that it's back.
We played volleyball, recently, and Texas ended up winning. It doesn't matter. The attendance goes up every time. The hate in my blood boils, and it's wonderful.
Yeah.
I hate them. I absolutely despise them with all of my being, and that's why I want to play them so bad.
Yeah, I'd say it's a great rivalry game. I'm really happy to have them back on the schedule.
Absolutely, it's going to be fantastic.
And the way it's trending, I think this is going to be a staple. At least on Tuesdays, we might eventually kick it to a weekend, but
right.
I'm good with it at least being on Tuesdays.
At least one game.
At least a game.
At least a game.
All right, then we host. Then we're going to host Alabama, who just hired a new coach. It was their former Auburn assistant that they hired. So we'll see. It should be a nice little rebuild year for Alabama.
Their team's been real bad.
Then we get Texas State at home. Road trip to Tennessee. That was a fun little series at home this past year.
Yeah,
should be fun to watch. Abilene Christian at home. One of our friends, Kobe, is on that team. He does not like Twinkies. He prefers ice cream, according to his dad. So that's good. That's good news.
There you go.
Then we on the road to Mississippi State. That'll be interesting.
Very interesting.
New ballpark is getting finished up over there. It's looking really nice. I'm really looking forward to it.
If the LSU series has not already defined our season, that one will.
Yeah, no, Mississippi State, it'll be on the road. It'll be a tough game, a tough series, but I think we'll have a chance to do something in it.
Yeah.
Prairie View at home, pretty straightforward. Florida at home.
I'm so excited.
The fact that we have been able to swing and get not only one, but both the teams that made it to the College World Series final last year at home, that is awesome.
I'm super excited. I like this schedule because it's super favorable. All of our away, other than Auburn, I look at the away, the series that aren't at home, and I'm not horridly scared by them.
I'll say Auburn and Mississippi State are like the two that, well, even Arkansas can be.
Right.
Because, it just varies on the year. Which, speaking of which, that's that next weekend is going to be Arkansas on the road. Fayetteville, fun little road trip. But we actually do end the year on two homes. We had a home game against Sam, and then we close out the year against South Carolina, which will be good.
Heading into the SEC tournament.
Yeah.
I like this schedule. I think it's super favorable.
Yeah.
I think it's a very favorable schedule as far as, setting your team up with a chance to do well. We can just go down the line.
Yeah.
When you look at this schedule, where do you think we're standing?
I'd say we're probably gonna. Well, let's see. Pulling out, I think, looking at the schedule, I think we'll sweep Alabama pretty easy. At this point in the season, I'm not going to confirm one way or the other. I think we'll take Tennessee on the road, 2-1. I think we'll lose the series at Mississippi State.
Really?
I think we will. I think it'll be but it's not going to be a sweep. I think it'll be like a 2-1.
Okay.
But, I see this team going maybe like 20-10 in SEC play, or 20-10 in the SEC play. Maybe 19-11.
There are 10 SEC series?
Yeah, 30 games.
How many of those series do you think we're going to win?
Let's see here. I think
which series do you think we're going to win? Which series do you think we're going to lose?
I think series that we are going to win without question. I think we are going to beat Auburn on the road. I think we're going to beat Ole Miss at home. I think we'll beat Georgia on the road. So I think we'll win our first three. LSU at home, I'm going to go us because we have done very well against them.
We have recently.
Alabama at home, I will take that. So I think we won the first 5. Tennessee, I think we take that one. I do think we lose to State. I think we lose to Arkansas. But I think we take 8 of our. I think Florida. Florida's a toss-up.
Right.
So I'm gonna go ahead and say we'll take 7 or 8 home series in the SEC.
I think that's probably really, really, really fair. I say we probably take Florida and probably lose LSU just because of last year and the year before that. LSU's we went in last year and we beat them when we probably shouldn't have.
Oh, not a chance. We should not have won that series.
They ended up at the end of the season looking fantastic.
Fun fact: that's the whole reason we made the tournament was that weekend.
Right.
The fact that we were able to get that 3-run shot.
Yeah.
In the 9th, that's pretty much what saved our season. In the long run.
Right.
So, no, really favorable schedule. Lots of great home games.
Exactly, yeah. Really favorable schedule, first of all, just for the team's sake. Really favorable schedule for fans.
Oh, absolutely.
We're bringing in LSU. That's going to be a great series. Florida is going to be a great series. You have
South Carolina's going to be awesome.
You have some great baseball teams that are coming in here that are just going to be fun to watch. It'd be fun games.
Yeah, and I'm really happy that we're kind of graduating away from like Pepperdine, and we've added Long Beach. I wouldn't be surprised if we went back and added Cal State Fullerton again. Mm-hmm. Start building towards getting some of these good, California programs.
Right.
Because on the one hand, because there's a lot of good California recruits out there.
Right.
And we've I won't say we've picked up any lately, but there's at least a possibility. We're making those road trips out to Long Beach or Fullerton or any of those spots. We can really kind of tap in over there.
Exactly. Very excited for the baseball season. Should be very fun. Another schedule was released this week. Football schedule.
Oh, man, that's wow.
Back to football. We had to do it. Back to the football schedule. At first glance, this is the least favorable schedule we've had since we joined the SEC.
Yeah.
And it's not questionable. And also, it's not even that interesting.
No, I mean, in particular, you look at that September, and that September is very stacked. You have, outside of Louisiana Monroe and Northwestern State, which are your cupcakes, you have Clemson at home.
At home week 2.
Week 2.
Out at Alabama week 4.
And then Arlington against Arkansas week 5, potentially against a new coach. So, those first, likely we could go 3-2 in that opening, but I have a very hard time looking at both Clemson and Alabama and saying those are going to be wins.
I have a hard time looking at either one of them and saying they're going to be wins.
Oh, yeah, not a chance.
Especially because, Clemson's looking as crazy as they are right now with some very young talent.
Mm-hmm.
Alabama's a juggernaut, and as good as they are, they're retaining a lot of the talent they have now.
Mm-hmm. After that, you got Kentucky at home.
Right. You get Kentucky at home. That'll be cool, bringing in Kentucky. And then you go at South Carolina, at Mississippi State, at Auburn. Then we come back home, and we finish up at home, which to me, this is the best part of the schedule, is that we're finishing up at home. It absolutely sucks to me that we're starting off at home and then effectively have, 2, 4, 6. We effectively have 7 weeks minus Kentucky without football at home.
Yeah, that's terrible.
There's a 7-week stretch from September to November in which we have one home game.
Yeah, we played one home game in October, and it's at the very beginning of October.
Right.
And that's nuts to me. I'm like,
it's crazy.
I was like, I want to know where these SEC schedulers, what they did.
And to me, good. Again, this is a very unfavorable schedule to the team and an unfavorable schedule to the fans. It is not super fan oriented. However, you are bringing in some great programs. You're bringing in Clemson.
Yeah.
You're bringing in Kentucky. Ole Miss is going to be back. LSU is going to be back. I'm super excited we get to play the Dragons.
Oh, yeah.
UAB coming in. Mm-hmm. Second year of a revitalized program.
Good for them.
Super excited to have them here because that'll be really, really cool of just, recognition of you guys, had to shut down your program, came back, and will be their second year next year. Really cool, just to me on a college football fan level.
Yeah.
Having them back and getting to come play in College Station will be very, very cool.
Yeah, happy with them. It's tough as a fan to look at that middle part of the schedule and just see where the justification was.
Right.
Of how this got balanced out. And not to mention if we struggle. And let's say, new coach or Kevin Sumlin, whoever it is, somebody struggles and we lose, Alabama. And then, maybe we pick up a win against Kentucky. We could potentially lose 2 or 3 of those next at South Carolina, Mississippi State and Auburn.
Right.
Fans are going to come back November 10th, and they may not be there.
Yeah, maybe empty.
It might be pretty quiet, and that's the worst part. That's why you need to have it pretty balanced throughout the year. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know how we go about fixing that, but
it's almost not up to us anyways.
I would say nothing we can do about it. But that's one of the reasons why. That's one of the reasons why I look at that baseball schedule and it works out so great.
Right.
It's because our longest road stretch is literally a weekend and a Tuesday. Other than that, we are playing at Olson.
Right. A lot of the time.
And because we're not kicking out a lot of our Tuesday games on the road anymore, like we've done in the past. We're doing one on the road this year. Or excuse me, we're doing 2. We're doing one at Rice and one at Corpus. But those are both they're both reasonable road trips.
Yeah.
So I look at Alabama. Look at this schedule. You're going to South Carolina, which is a very long trip.
Yeah, very long.
That's a
flight.
I was like, Mississippi State and Auburn are both opposite sides of their, states.
From here, at least.
Yeah, I'm. That's one of the other things I really wish we'd figured out is where we could split and have one Alabama and one Alabama school, one Mississippi school at home every year,
right?
And then flip it because the way it currently stands, we have both Auburn and Alabama either at home or on the road,
and then both Mississippi schools.
So I mean, this year it works out nice because we get
right.
we get everybody at home, but then next year it just doesn't work out really well in our favor.
Exactly.
I think personally, part of this issue is I really wish we'd stop playing Arkansas and Arlington, but that's not happening anytime soon.
Not until 2024 at least, and it won't stop then.
And so it won't stop then.
Realistically, at least.
Yeah. So
the saddest part of the schedule to me is that we play LSU not on Thanksgiving. Will be the first time in several years that we haven't played on Thanksgiving. To me, growing up an Aggie is really just heartbreaking because that's how I knew Thanksgiving. It was Thanksgiving, I have lunch, cool, we hang out, and then Aggie football game at night.
Yes.
And traditionally, again, always against Texas. That needs to come back, but I am very sad that we're losing our Thanksgiving football game. That makes me just really heartbroken. I love that game.
At the very least, kick it to Friday. It's like, don't make it just your typical Saturday matchup.
Right.
It's rivalry weekend. Everybody's playing on freaking Saturday. You know, that's one of the reasons why I really liked whenever Arkansas and LSU play, because they'd always play on Friday. Why can't we kick to Friday? At least. I mean, I get it. ESPN's trying to milk as much as they can with Texas in those ESPN games.
Yeah.
But let's face it, Texas versus TCU, Texas versus Texas Tech at the end of the year is not an intriguing matchup.
No, it's not, and it makes no sense as to why you're not playing the game. Not having the A&M Texas game makes zero sense when you look at it from an economic standpoint.
No.
The only reason you're not doing it is because you're whiny babies and that's the way you're going to live your life. But is what it is for the time being. That just to me is kind of the most upsetting part of the schedule. Last thing I wanted to talk to you about. I don't know if you saw one of the professors, wonderful professors here at Texas A&M, was on the Ellen Show yesterday.
Yep.
He was on. It's Dr. Henry Musoma. I'm actually in his management class. And it was a joy, absolute joy, to watch the clip today. I didn't get to watch it yesterday. I watched the clip online today of him, of this guy like I'm in his class. He's on national television with one of our fellow students, one of the girls that effectively she doesn't, but she could have sat right next to me in class. Her son came to class with her after Dr. Musoma told her that would be okay. He picked him up, walked around. I mean, this man has a true heart, just an absolute love for, first of all, for the students. I mean, this guy loves us. He has a genuine care for us and our well-being. He wants us to study. He wants us to do well. But, I mean, he just has a good heart. I mean, he told us at the beginning of class, he told us that this semester he was choosing his children. He said, I'm choosing my kids. This semester, that is my, conscious choice that I'm making. I'm going to do things, and every time I do something, I'm going to do it with the mindset of I'm choosing my kids. Mm-hmm. And, I think this was just a reflection of that, was, he was choosing his kids. And at this point, it wasn't, obviously his literal children. It was his students. He's like, well, I'm choosing to be a father figure. I'm going to allow, this girl to bring her son in. They were on the Ellen Show. Ellen gave the girl, I think, like $10,000 for academics, for stuff like that. Obviously, single mom probably struggles with stuff like that.
Absolutely.
So awesome, just show of kindness that just got repeated upon and ended up with just this giant thing that's gone national and has just become this big news story. Obviously, I don't ever think that Dr. Musoma is going to hear this. If he does, Dr. Musoma, thank you for everything you do for this university.
Yes, sir.
Absolute class act, embodies the Aggie spirit 100% in class and out. Just an honor to be in his class, even though I think that I probably failed his test today. But
that's life, man.
Yeah, it just kind of is what it is. Rob.
Yep.
I'm getting my Fight Texas Aggie ring tomorrow.
That's very exciting, man.
It's very
good
exciting.
For you. Woo.
I'm very excited. We thank you guys for listening. We hope you'll come back and listen to the next episode. And as well, if you listen to us, please share the podcast with anybody you might like to share it with. And also, we have a Twitter. It's at the Junction Cast. Feel free to shoot us questions, shoot us topics you'd like us to discuss, and we'd be happy to do that. We thank you for listening. Thanks. Gig 'em.
Gig 'em.